Welcome to the Early Signs and Identification module. In this section, we will explore the crucial aspects of recognizing early signs of dyslexia and understanding its impact. By the end of this module, you'll be better equipped to identify potential indicators of dyslexia and contribute to early intervention and support. We have a lot of learning ahead of us, so let's get started. We are going to engage in this learning module with the following professional goals in mind. Increase early identification. Educate educators and professionals about the importance of recognizing early signs of dyslexia in students, leading to timely intervention. Enhance awareness. Raise awareness about dyslexia and its prevalence to create a more inclusive and informed educational environment. Improve screening practices. Equip educators with effective screening tools and techniques for identifying students at risk of dyslexia. Strengthen collaboration. Foster collaboration between educators, parents, and support services to ensure a holistic approach to early identification and intervention. Promote equity. Work towards creating equal educational opportunities for all students by addressing dyslexia-related challenges at an early stage. We are going to cover the following learning objectives in this professional development module. Recognize early signs. By the end of this section, participants should be able to identify early signs and indicators of dyslexia in students, including challenges related to phonological awareness and reading readiness. Understand the importance of early intervention. Participants will understand why early identification and intervention are crucial for dyslexic students and how they can impact long-term educational outcomes. Signs and indicators of dyslexia in students, including challenges related to phonological awareness and reading readiness. Implement screening tools. Participants will learn to effectively use screening tools and assessments to identify students who may be at risk of dyslexia. Collaborate effectively. Participants will develop skills for collaborating with parents, caregivers, and support services to provide comprehensive support for students with dyslexia. Advocate for inclusivity. Participants will gain the knowledge and confidence to advocate for inclusive educational practices that address the needs of dyslexic students at an early stage. Early identification of dyslexia is crucial for implementing effective interventions and support strategies. While it's important to note that every child develops at their own pace, certain signs may indicate the need for further assessment. Keep in mind that the presence of these signs does not definitively diagnose dyslexia, but it suggests that additional evaluation may be beneficial. Early signs of dyslexia in children can include difficulty with phonological awareness, struggles with rhyming, segmenting words into syllables, and identifying individual sounds in words, phonemic awareness, delayed speech and language development, late onset of speaking or persistent difficulties with pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Difficulty learning letters and letter sounds. Difficulty associating letters with their corresponding sounds, making it challenging to learn the alphabet. Reversal of letters or numbers. Frequently reversing or confusing letters and numbers, such as writing B instead of D or 6 instead of 9. Difficulty learning to read. Struggles with decoding words, recognizing sight words, and achieving reading milestones. Slow and labored reading. Reading at a slower pace than peers, with difficulties in fluency and accuracy. Poor spelling. Makes frequent spelling errors, and spelling ability does not match age or grade level. Difficulty with writing and expressive language. Challenges in organizing thoughts coherently in writing, with difficulties in grammar and sentence structure. Inconsistent school performance. Inconsistency in academic performance, with strengths in certain areas and difficulties in reading, spelling, and writing. Avoidance of reading activities. Demonstrates a reluctance or avoidance of reading-related tasks and activities. Frustration and negative emotions. Expresses frustration, anxiety, or negative emotions related to school, reading, or academic tasks. Family history of dyslexia. A family history of dyslexia or related learning difficulties. It's important to note that the signs of dyslexia may become more apparent as a child progresses through school and encounters more complex reading and writing tasks. If you observe several of these signs in a child, it is advisable to seek guidance from educators, school professionals, or healthcare providers. Early intervention and targeted support can significantly enhance a child's ability to develop strong literacy skills. Additionally, comprehensive assessments conducted by educational and clinical professionals can provide a more accurate diagnosis and guide the development of appropriate interventions tailored to the child's specific needs. Let us now discuss some early signs of dyslexia and how to detect them for immediate intervention. Difficulty with phonological awareness. Difficulty with recognizing and manipulating the sounds of spoken language, known as phonological awareness, hinders a child's ability to break words into syllables or identify individual sounds in words. This foundational skill is crucial for developing strong reading and spelling abilities. In dyslexia, atypical activation and structural differences in the left temporoparietal cortex, particularly in areas such as the superior temporal gyrus, STG, and supramarginal gyrus, SMG, contribute to challenges in phonological processing. Delayed speech and language development. A delay in speech and language development or persistent difficulties in pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentence structure may indicate underlying language processing difficulties associated with dyslexia. These challenges can stem from atypical brain activation patterns in regions responsible for language processing, affecting the child's ability to articulate and comprehend spoken language effectively. Difficulty learning letters and letter sounds. Struggling to associate letters with their corresponding sounds impedes the foundational skills needed for reading. Dyslexia involves differences in activation and connectivity in the left inferior parietal lobule, impacting the coordination of visual and phonological processing. This can affect the child's ability to establish the critical link between letters and their sounds, hindering early reading development. Reversal of letters or numbers. Constantly reversing or confusing letters and numbers suggests difficulties in spatial orientation and visual perception, which are common characteristics of dyslexia. The occipitotemporal cortex, including the visual word form area, VWFA, may show atypical activation, impacting the efficient processing of visual information. These challenges contribute to the child's struggles in accurately perceiving and reproducing symbols, affecting both reading and writing. Difficulty learning to read. Challenges in decoding words and achieving reading milestones can point to dyslexia, impacting the development of reading skills. Dyslexia involves differences in the activation and connectivity of brain regions responsible for visual and phonological processing. These differences can result in a slow and laborious reading process, affecting the child's ability to recognize and understand written words efficiently. Slow and labored reading. Reading at a slower pace than peers, with difficulties in fluency and accuracy, may indicate struggles in automating the reading process. Dyslexia is associated with structural and functional differences in the frontal cortex, with compensatory mechanisms observed to support reading comprehension. These challenges contribute to the child's effortful and less automatic reading, impacting their overall reading proficiency. Poor spelling. Frequent spelling errors that do not align with age or grade level can be an early indication of dyslexia. Dyslexia may be associated with altered activation patterns in the left inferior frontal gyrus, IFG, contributing to challenges in phonological processing and retrieval of linguistic information necessary for accurate spelling. The child may struggle to translate spoken words into written form, affecting their spelling abilities across various tasks. Difficulty with writing and expressive language. Challenges in organizing thoughts coherently in writing, along with difficulties in grammar and sentence structure, may indicate difficulties in translating ideas onto paper. Dyslexia can affect the frontal operculum, contributing to difficulties in phonological processing and speech production. These challenges impact the child's ability to express themselves effectively in writing, hindering their overall written communication skills. Inconsistent school performance. Inconsistency in academic performance, with strengths in certain areas and difficulties in reading, spelling, and writing, could signal a learning difference like dyslexia. Dyslexia may involve differences in activation and connectivity in multiple brain regions, leading to variations in performance across different academic domains. The child may excel in non-reading related subjects while facing challenges in tasks that require strong literacy skills. Avoidance of reading activities. Reluctance or avoidance of reading-related tasks and activities may be a coping mechanism to deal with the challenges associated with dyslexia. The emotional impact of struggling with reading and academic tasks may lead the child to develop avoidance behaviors. These behaviors can be rooted in a desire to manage feelings of frustration, anxiety, or inadequacy related to their difficulties with reading. Frustration and negative emotions. Expressing frustration, anxiety, or negative emotions related to school, reading, or academic tasks may indicate the emotional impact of struggling with dyslexia. Dyslexia may involve alterations in the amygdala, potentially contributing to emotional aspects related to reading difficulties. The child may experience heightened emotional responses to situations involving literacy tasks, impacting their overall well-being and motivation to engage in learning activities. Dyslexia may manifest itself in children at different age and grade levels in different ways. Let's look at signs of dyslexia at different age and grade levels. Early years, preschool and kindergarten. Speech and language development. During early years, delayed speech or difficulties in articulation may manifest as challenges in expressing thoughts verbally. Limited vocabulary and simplified sentence structures may be evident. For example, a preschooler consistently struggles to pronounce certain sounds such as R or L, and has a limited vocabulary compared to peers. The caregiver notices that the child's speech development is not progressing at the expected rate for their age. They might observe the child avoiding certain words or using simpler language to express themselves. During early years, delayed speech or phonological awareness. A child struggles during the early grades in rhyming, identifying syllables, and recognizing initial sounds may impact foundational phonological awareness skills crucial for reading development. Difficulties may extend to recognizing and manipulating smaller units of sound. For example, a kindergartner has difficulty recognizing rhyming words during a group activity. The teacher observes that the child struggles to identify words that rhyme, indicating challenges in phonological awareness. This difficulty may affect the child's ability to break down words into smaller sound units. Letter and number recognition. Dyslexia during early years may cause difficulty learning letters and numbers and can hinder early literacy and numeracy development. This may be accompanied by challenges in associating letters with sounds. For example, a preschooler has difficulty recognizing and remembering the letters of the alphabet. The caregiver notices that, despite exposure to letters and basic letter sound activities, the child consistently struggles to identify and remember letters. Elementary school. Reading development. During elementary school years, challenges in decoding words and reading fluently become more apparent. Slow and laborious reading may impede overall reading comprehension and engagement with academic content. For example, a second-grade student reads at a slower pace than their peer and often stumbles on unfamiliar words. The teacher observes that the student's reading is characterized by a slower pace, with frequent pauses and difficulty decoding words accurately. Spelling difficulties. Frequent spelling errors that do not align with grade level may persist. The child may struggle to apply phonetic rules consistently when spelling words. For example, a fourth-grade student consistently misspells common words, even those they have encountered multiple times. The teacher notices a pattern of spelling errors that are not in line with the student's grade level. The student may struggle to apply phonetic rules consistently. Writing and expressive language. Difficulties in organizing thoughts coherently in writing and grammar can impact written expression. The child may use less complex sentence structures and struggle with narrative coherence. For example, a third-grade student has difficulty organizing ideas when writing a short paragraph. The teacher observes that the student's writing lacks coherence, with disorganized thoughts and simpler sentence structures than expected for their grade level. Avoidance of reading. Avoidance behaviors may become more pronounced as academic demands increase. The child may develop negative associations with reading-related tasks. For example, a fifth-grade student actively avoids participating in reading aloud activities and often chooses non-reading options during independent reading time. The teacher notices the student's consistent avoidance of reading-related tasks and activities, signaling potential discomfort or challenges in reading. Secondary school. Reading fluency and comprehension. Challenges in reading fluency become more evident as texts become more complex. Difficulties in decoding words efficiently may persist, affecting comprehension of academic material. For example, an 8th grade student struggles to read and comprehend grade-level science textbooks. The teacher observes that the student's reading is slower, and comprehension of complex scientific content is hindered. The student may also avoid reading assignments. Writing challenges. Struggles may persist, impacting essay composition and longer written assignments. The child may face challenges in organizing and articulating complex ideas on paper. For example, a 10th grade student finds it challenging to structure and develop ideas in a persuasive essay. The teacher notes that the student's writing lacks organization, with difficulty in constructing a coherent argument and using appropriate sentence structures. Emotional impact. Emotional impact may become more pronounced, affecting self-esteem and motivation. The student may become increasingly aware of their learning differences, potentially leading to heightened stress and anxiety. For example, a high school student expresses frustration and anxiety when given a reading assignment. The caregiver or teacher notices the student's emotional response, such as visible signs of frustration, avoidance behaviors, or verbal expressions of anxiety when faced with reading tasks. Inconsistent school performance. Inconsistency may persist, with strengths in non-reading subjects. The student may excel in areas that don't heavily rely on strong reading and writing skills. For example, a 9th grade student excels in mathematics and science, but struggles in language arts. The teacher observes the student's consistent performance pattern, excelling in subjects that don't heavily rely on strong reading and writing skills while facing challenges in language arts. Compensatory strategies. Individuals with dyslexia often develop compensatory strategies, such as relying on memory, context, and alternative learning modalities. These strategies can vary and evolve over time. For example, a 12th grade student, aware of their difficulties in reading quickly, starts using audiobooks for literature assignments. They also create detailed verbal summaries to reinforce understanding. The teacher observes the student's preference for auditory learning and notices the detailed verbal summaries, indicating a compensatory strategy to overcome challenges in traditional reading methods. Technology use. Increased reliance on technology for reading and writing tasks. Assistive technologies may become more crucial in secondary school to bridge gaps in reading and writing proficiency. For example, a 10th grade student with dyslexia utilizes speech-to-text software to complete written assignments. They also use audiobooks and digital highlighting tools to enhance reading comprehension. The teacher notices the student's consistent use of technology tools, such as speech-to-text and digital highlighting, which are not typical for their peers. This indicates a reliance on technology to support their reading and writing needs. Over the year, researchers and practitioners have developed a number of tools to assess and screen for dyslexia in children. Click on the resources link in the top right corner of the window to view a PDF document containing information about these assessment tools. For detailed information on these assessment and screening tools, please contact the dyslexia support team at your school or district. The importance of early intervention for children with learning disabilities, such as dyslexia, cannot be overstated. Early intervention refers to the identification and provision of effective support and services to children as soon as a learning disability is suspected. Here's a detailed exploration of its significance. Improved academic outcomes. Early skill development. Early intervention helps in the development of critical reading and writing skills at a young age, which are foundational for future academic success. Reduced academic gap. Addressing learning challenges early can prevent the widening of the academic gap between children with dyslexia and their peers. Enhanced neuroplasticity. Brain development. Young children's brains have a higher degree of neuroplasticity, meaning they are more capable of forming new neural connections. Effective remediation. This plasticity allows for more effective remediation of dyslexia during early childhood, potentially leading to more significant long-term improvements in reading and language skills. Prevention of secondary issues. Reduced frustration and anxiety. Early intervention can prevent the development of frustration and anxiety related to academic difficulties. Social and emotional development. It helps in maintaining a positive self-concept and healthy social and emotional development, which can be adversely affected by untreated learning difficulties. Informed educational planning. Tailored educational strategies. With early diagnosis, educators can implement tailored educational strategies and interventions that cater to individual learning needs. Appropriate resource allocation. Schools can allocate resources and support services more effectively when learning disabilities are identified early. Family support and involvement. Empowering families. Early intervention helps families understand their child's learning needs and equips them with strategies to support their child's learning at home. Early knowledge and intervention can reduce stress and uncertainty for families, allowing them to advocate effectively for their child. Building self-esteem and motivation. Positive attitude toward learning. Early support helps children develop a positive attitude toward learning and a belief in their abilities. Successfully overcoming early challenges can foster a sense of self-efficacy in children. Early intervention is crucial in altering the trajectory of children with learning disabilities like dyslexia. It leverages the early years, when the most significant development occurs, to set a foundation for lifelong learning and success. The benefits of early intervention extend beyond academic achievement, positively impacting emotional well-being, self-esteem, and long-term life opportunities. In this module, we delved into the early signs and identification of dyslexia, emphasizing the importance of recognizing these indicators to provide timely support for affected individuals. Understanding the neurological basis of dyslexia's early signs enables educators, parents, and professionals to intervene effectively and facilitate the development of essential reading and language skills. Next module: Dyslexia's impact on learning. In the next module, we will explore how dyslexia affects various aspects of learning, including reading, writing, spelling, and language comprehension. We will examine the challenges faced by individuals with dyslexia and strategies to support their educational journey.